That's been one issue with Amazon scaling up, is you have to have enough pilots to fly all these planes as demand, particularly, when you're shoving in and becoming a third player in this logistics market, you need to hire some pilots away. And Amazon has struggled to build up its cargo airline. You sent me some stats that Amazon can only run 6.6 hours of revenue air hours per day compared to around 18 for UPS and 14 and a half for FedEx. That's due to crew efficiencies. Can you talk a little bit about what about bringing new pilots into this market is really causing a bottleneck in the amount of human capital you have to scale up?
So there's sort of a disconnect in how you become a pilot. In order to become a pilot, you have to go to pilot training school, and then you have to put in a certain amount of flight hours working for smaller airlines before you can fly the bigger routes, the bigger planes. And while you're sort of going through that period, not only are you spending $100,000 or more on pilot school, your first few years of working, you're making a very low salary. So even though, being an airline pilot for Southwest or Delta is a very good job, you make a lot of money, it takes a lot of investment to get there. The other problem we have is that in most cases, companies want pilots, and I don't know if Amazon requires this or not, to also have 4-year degrees. So in addition to having to go to pilot school, they also have to go to college. This is causing a huge shortage of pilots, which is going to be exacerbated by the fact that there's a mandatory retirement age for pilots at 65. Now, honestly, I think the best way to solve this in the short term is make the mandatory retirement age 70 and just have increased testing and licensing procedures in the 5 years in between there. But if you're Amazon, you're competing against maybe cushier jobs, maybe higher paying jobs, and just hitting the wall of no matter what you pay, there's simply not enough people who know how to do this.
Yeah, so it's something to follow. As we see a clear demand for more, fulfillment services from companies like Amazon and others, to make that happen, we're going to need humans to fly these planes, at least in the near term. Maybe at some point in time, we'll have a robot that can take off and land. But at least in the near term, we're going to need to have people.
Yeah, and I think we could automate plane flight. I think there is such public sentiment against it. It's kind of like the automated driving. Let's say it takes, for every 100 accidents that would happen with human drivers, there's only one with automated drivers. It doesn't work. It has to be 0. So even if using automated planes dramatically cuts down on crashes, until they can guarantee 0, the publicity simply isn't going to work. So Amazon, the first thing they have to do is get more efficient. You talked about how many less working hours they get. That's a practice of time. The more time they do it, the more they're going to refine their process. The bigger they are, the easier it's going to be for them to hire experienced people who can sort of smooth those things out. So if you look at where they are now and where the top of the industry is, they can basically get 3 times more efficient. And Amazon has shown with shipping that it will eventually get there.
Yeah, clearly this is something that Amazon's interested in getting more and more involved with, and we're going to continue to follow this story. I think we've talked this 3rd or 4th time I've had you on the show to talk about this, Dan. So we'll continue to bring this to ground.